And I think to inspire you a little bit there, we found a very, I think, inspirational speaker for you today. Her name is LiAn Phoa, and apologies if I pronounce your last name incorrectly. But I think what makes her so interesting is she has done a couple of MSCs, so she's very much engaged with knowledge transfer. She's also a university teacher, and she still does it at Oude Business School here in the Netherlands, but also at the Van Larenstein Professional University. So she has a background in ecology, business and philosophy. And I had a look at her website, and she allowed me to say anything I wanted, so she can correct that later on. But what inspired me from her website is what she mentioned there under the topic of actions. She mentioned things like connecting, initiating, writing, learning and teaching, creating, organizing, walking, hiking, gardening and speaking. The last part she will do today, but she already told me that she enjoyed the walk coming here. What she also does is she mobilizes watersheds. So I think that's already a quite big thing, because that's not so easy. Not everybody realizes actually that they're living in a watershed. And so by mobilizing them is a double challenge. What was most inspirational to me was her last statement there, and that was her dream of drinkable rivers. And that's what she will say a few words about. LiAn, may I invite you to the stage?
It was quite symbolic to hear the sound of the new generation, right? It's another why we're here, I think. But first of all, of course, congratulations to each of you, the students, the family around them, and also the professors and teachers. Also congratulations for that support system. A beautiful achievement, and wow, you are so beautiful. And also for the people at home, of course, they have supported you from a distance. And I am very curious with how many watersheds we are here, but maybe someone can make a quick estimate, who's good at that. But I feel the richness of all the veins that we embody by being present here, by being aligned with our experience. It's such a synchronous program of 18 months, having this journey and acquiring knowledge, language, and indeed what has been coming forth today as well, community. And so my name is LiAn Phoa, and actually the name has already some water in it. Phoa means, it's from Chinese, and it is a place with a lot of water. So that's something. And we got the invitation today to wear something traditional. I'm wearing for the first time a dress from my grandmother. She was a nurse and grew up in Indonesia. And they arrived here after the Second World War. So it feels like I have her a bit with me. Yeah, you are 5 different mayors of water-related MSCs. I carry indeed a background in business administration, holistic science and philosophy. And this holistic way of thinking is part of my doing, actually. So I'm also the founder of Drinkable Rivers. And I'll tell a little bit about that because I think nobody knows about me yet. So, and then I'll tell a bit about my obstacles. So drinkable rivers, if we have a world with drinkable rivers, you might have thought about it and you might have even experienced it. I heard a professor, a teacher of you who have been drinking from a river in Sudan and also actually in South Africa, I just heard. So that was very hopeful. But once we have a world with drinkable rivers again, it will mean that everything on the land is healthy and in balance and contributes to it. In a way, simple as that. But it's also very ambitious, of course, to go from our situation now to a world with drinkable rivers. For me personally, this started canoeing a river from source to sea in northern Canada, and that river was completely drinkable. I just finished my first study. I was 24 back then, and for a month I drank directly from the river for a whole month. That was such a touching and beautiful experience that tears run down my cheek when I took a sip like this, and I remembered again that my ancestors were all drinking like that, but I had totally forgotten it. For me, opening the tap like that was normal. So how this, you probably have heard about that shifting baseline syndrome, of how normal changes. So I want that this reality, what is still in some places a reality, I want it back, actually, and I want that to be normal again. And so I think, and some of you might feel that urgency that Eddie Morse was also addressing to you, and also how you can and start to play a role in it. But I think if now we are really, as a civilization, going towards economic growth, but if we are going the direction and having a shared compass of a drinkable river, also in our local personal actions, but also as communities and also as entire watersheds in collaboration, upstream, downstream, side river, mainstream, that would mean a whole different world. And in that case, and that's what with Drinkable Rivers, I'm suggesting, if we change going from economic growth towards a world with drinkable rivers as a societal compass and also an economic compass, then your knowledge is essential. You will probably in the future will need to speak more with economists than other hydrologists had done before, or with disaster or insurance companies. I think that change in the world and the potential that your skill set has will be enormous, and it will be needed. And you might also be the refreshing other perspective if that would be the case. So in the meantime of doing that, I do it walking rivers, like Eddie was introducing it. So about now I have walked 18,000 kilometers source to sea, and I've been meeting all the people who are living there and seeing the landscape, how it changes, how it morphs and grows. And as a result of then the walks, I create that as a momentum to create action communities, but not with an idea in front what should be happening, but I'll see what is alive and what emerges. And so, for instance, walking the River Meuse, the river that has fed me all my youth with drinking water, a mayor's network has now been created of mayors and aldermen in Belgium, France, Luxembourg, and in Belgium, Wallonia and Flanders, and also in the Netherlands. And we meet every year, and something like that didn't exist yet. And besides these action communities, we have a citizen science program worldwide. And there's a film about the river walk. There will be a Netflix film early next year, and we've written a book that we're happy that will be in English from September onwards. But during this journey of starting as a student and then now having a worldwide movement, I also faced a lot of obstacles, of course. And one of the things was that I started writing like a job letter, job interview. And I know many of you don't need that because you will return to the places where you were already working, but some of you might do, or you might want to do it in the future. But I immediately got, with my first letter, I got a reply, "Thank you for your letter," but there were hundreds of other submittants, and I felt a bit like, I'm ready for the world, but nobody's awaiting me. So it felt very much a bit lonely, and also a bit of, I had high expectations of being, ta-da, I'm here, and no one waiting for me. So I then acquired a skill, which I'd like to put a seed and that you might nurture and maybe master in a few years. And that's called the art of inviting yourself. And so it's something we somehow are grown up with, very being polite. Like you don't ask to be a part of the party. Like I feel very privileged to be part of your party, but I was invited this time. I didn't enforce myself. But it is something like that you know how to phrase a question, that you can really honor the no, but that you explore the yes. And if you don't, because if you don't do that, you have to wait a long time probably. So just try and use the art of inviting. And you as students, we are already very privileged, but it is a value, a valuta almost, a currency that you embody, being young and having new perspectives again. Use it, even to conferences or in situations that you would think, ah, no, why would I? Let that voice simmer to the background. That's one thing that I'd like to give to you on your backpack, on your journey. Then another one, which is a bit related to this, what I learned from the Drinkable River and the watershed is that everyone matters. That's the ambition of a drinkable river, right? That all the actions need to be aligned and work towards a drinkable river. If there's one against it, it will likely start to lose that quality of drinkability. So in that sense, everything, everyone, everything you do matters. And so do you. And so this voice that makes us smaller, tune that one to the background. You can understand that it's about respecting others, honoring others, but also honor yourself and know you matter. So that now it might not feel, now you feel like the center of the world today, which is, I think, a very good thing to now also keep anchoring this emotion that you feel right now in times when it will be more difficult, when you feel more alone, when you feel less understood or you don't feel that community like you have right now. Know that we and this moment is always there as well. So make like a small gesture so to anchor this moment for yourself. Then the third thing and last thing that I'd like to give to you on your journey facing obstacles and festive moments like now is to take care of what takes care of us. That's something I learned from the many indigenous people I stayed with. And so this is also of taking care of our water, because if we take care of our water and the circumstances it needs to create the qualities we would like, then the water will provide for us. But this, especially when you're very impact-driven, right, it can exhaust yourself. So also remember, if you think about taking care of what takes care of you, is one of the things is yourself. Make sure your heart is singing. It's a compass, an inner compass. So ask yourself, what makes my heart sing? And then, if you know the answer to that, allow yourself. Go spend time outside, rest, spend time with people that really nurture you. Be in silence once in a while. I'm saying a few things that are really, I have to make conscious effort to do myself, to remember, but I will be much more effective when I do that. And last but not least, and it feels like a bit interesting to say this in a church also, but we have to learn to deal with our shit. It's about composting. There will be shit news coming our way, events, but we know we do it on a daily basis, right? So we know how to nurture it into fertile soil. So it is to compost all the negativity in enthusiasm. It's enthusiasm that keeps us all together, that gives us the lightness to continue our efforts for tomorrow. It gives us the joy for all our young children who are dependent on our actions right now. So compost your hope. So again, congratulations. We move forward to that celebration. I will be there if you are wanting to interact more with me. And also feel very free to adopt the Drinkable Rivers, to also walk a part of your river. I wish you a lot of good luck with your future endeavors in the work that you will go back into, or the new challenges you will be facing, and also a lot of return to all your loved ones. I hope you will anchor today these emotions, feel the enrichment of the experience, the knowledge, the language and the community, and a lot of love and joy. Yeah.